What's up, War Rapport family? It's your boy C-Dub. Hugh Freeze lands a top 10 recruiting class. Can he sneak into the top 5 when all is said and done? We discussed that and more in today's edition of the Midweek Report. Signing day, ladies and gentlemen. You already know the usual suspects. Mike G is here. B. Will is joining us, but we have special guest Dylan Locker of the College Loop is joining us, as well as Dustin from the Uptempo podcast. Gentlemen, hope you all are well. Hope y'all are well watching us. Hope you enjoyed your day. Do us a favor, share this content with those of you who are looking for great Auburn content out on YouTube. Smash that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Mike G, tell the people how they can get a green name.
Guys, it's Christmas time, and if you want to get us a Christmas gift, you can sign up as a patron. $5.99 a month will get you there. This is a great way to support our content. These are like micro sponsorships. If you enjoy some of the live content that we do, the interviews, the firesides, you can help continue to support that content by becoming a patron. The regular season may be over, but the work at the War Rapport never stops. We've got plenty of content to bring you guys in between the longest off season in sports. It's tough, but we're here for that. $6.99 a month, guys. Help us out. Sign up as a patron, either from your mobile device or from a computer somewhere. You can also give the gift of the War Report by hitting that gifted membership button. This is a great program that YouTube has started to help creators continue to grow. You guys have been doing a great job with this as well. So hit that gifted membership button and help support the work that we do. Give the gift of the War Report this Christmas. As always, we give away something every single live stream. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. This is brought to you by War Eagle Oil in conjunction with GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We're going to draw and give away a mug at the hour mark. You got to be here to win, though, so you better stick around. Also, check us out, guys, on where did it go? Site, never mind. The graphics not in here. This show is also brought to you by HelloFresh. Visit HelloFresh.com. Use code 50RAPPORT or Rapport Free. I'm sorry. It just changed. Rapport Free. To get a discount on that order. HelloFresh is bringing you guys some great stuff. We use it here at the War Rapport. We're going to remind everybody a great way to support us is by supporting our sponsors, HelloFresh. Visit HelloFresh.com/Rapport Free and get that order in. Look, we got our guys here joining us from the College Loop and the Uptempo podcast. They're on the War Report Podcast Network. Check them out on every podcast platform. Dylan and Dustin are here. D&D are here tonight. Talk some recruiting with us.
Yes, sir. I'm going on hour 7 today. I was rocking with Ike all day today, so I'm on like my 3rd or 4th Red Bull. I've been going. I saw Corey asking if I'm wearing the same thing as this morning. No, Corey, I was wearing gray and orange this morning, buddy. I got the same hat on. I took a shower. I changed now. Get off of me. I'm feeling good, bro. We landed the top 10 class.
If you want to funk it out and keep the same thing on, it's your business, man.
Hey, I'm out of work for a whole nother month. I ain't got nothing to do.
That's right.
There you go.
Hey, Patrick Holmes wears the same pair of underwear every game. So
does he?
Apparently.
He might need to switch him up lately.
He did say something about that. Like, dang, Pat, we ain't have to know that.
That's like one of those State Farm. Is it State Farm? Like that's too much information. I don't know. Anyway, guys, let's get off of people wearing the same underwear every day. Let's talk about good news. Auburn lands a consensus top 10 recruiting class in Hugh Freeze's inaugural year of recruiting. How we feel about this? Before we get into the players, just how do we feel about the fact that Auburn has a top 10 recruiting class? It seems like it's been forever and a day which we could say that. And I remember specifically, I know, Mike G, you said if it wasn't a top 10, it probably is kind of a downer of in terms of expectations.
Yeah, maybe like outside top 15. Like
Top 15.
outside top 15 would have been a downer. The expectation was somewhere between 15 and 10 in year one. And they got some big flips, obviously, so they outperformed those expectations.
How do we feel about that? B. Will, starting with you, sir.
I don't want to poke my chest out yet. All right, because I saw true freshmen and redshirt freshmen who were starting on teams leave after having quality starts and snaps. So I am incredibly impressed with Hugh Freeze. First of all, he let us know that recruiting was his focus, that getting guys out of high school was his focus, and the effort that we saw him put in since he got here has paid off. It paid off today with the early signees. We saw him state, "This is my intent." He followed through. He was consistent, even to the point where he felt like he had to stop game planning and stuff because I need to recruit. And then he was like, "All right, maybe I do need to game plan a little bit." Okay. And then he got back on the recruiting, and he let us know he was about this. That this wasn't a fluke. At Ole Miss, he was about it. He didn't have the reach he has now, but he came through. He came through. I'm always going to have my qualms about the type of season we had with how ugly it looked at times, but this is the difference between Hugh Freeze and Brian Harsin. Year ones both had some bright spots, but they ended up being ugly. This right here, far and away, completely different guy. Completely different focus, completely different league as far as being able to reach the athletes we need to reach in the places we need to reach them and pull them out of the pockets of the University of Georgia, the University of Alabama. This is why you get this guy. I'm incredibly impressed by his tenacity on the recruiting trail, how much he values it, and how much is paid off in year one. I don't think we can be anything but impressed right now. I never thought that we were going to be like lower than 15. I agree. It would have been a downer if we were lower than 15. Absolutely. Not with how much he talked about it. Not with how much time he put into recruiting. But I never thought we would be lower than that because we saw that facility come together. We got to take that tour of the facility at the end of the year. Was that the end of the year last year, Mike? We got to walk around the facility. It was going to be really hard. Once the people got Hugh Freeze, and we think the people in control of things wanted him. They got the guy they wanted. They got the facility they wanted. They were going to start putting their money where their mouths were. It looks like they did. It seems like they did. And even then, I still think it took a phenomenal effort. Like let's be clear about that. Money is one of the deciding factors. It is not the only deciding factor here. We're watching kids flip from places who have money to places who have equal. I don't think money's the deciding factor. And Mike, you actually said this many times before. Once you get to the top few recruits, they're all getting bags thrown at them. Like money's not the differentiator anymore. It is, do I like you as a coach, as a leader? Do I believe you? Do I believe in you and my position coach? Do I want to be yelled at by this guy every day in practice? And Coach Hugh Freeze's recruiting style, the style of the players, of the assistant coaches that he has on staff, it seems to be resonating. And that's a very good sign. I think that's one thing that will help keep players here. So I'm incredibly encouraged by the type of players we got and also how Hugh Freeze got them. Listen, man, 1 year, he didn't put much to show for on the field. I mean, not really. But he has a message. He has a very strong relationship builder. That's really the difference with him. He's a relationship builder, and all of the parents and players talked about it. I'm impressed with the job he's done here. I hope we can keep all these guys here. Now the retention begins right now, keeping these guys here after we get a year out of them. But I'm feeling good about what Hugh Freeze did with a full year of recruiting.
Dustin, you were here. You've been with us pretty much all day.
Yeah.
Had time to reflect. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, really proud of the effort that the entire staff has done. There's only offensive line's the only position that you look at and you say, I wish you would have done more. And to be fair, this cycle was historically shallow at offensive line in Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia and Florida. Obviously, the states where Auburn's going to do the majority of its recruiting. So that's why you have to go out to California and Snow College to get your two guys. That's how thin it was. Now, we did do some missing. So, but other than that, man, like when I look at the defensive side of the ball, you built it in all three phases. I love the D-line. I love the way the D-line finished up. I love your two edge rushers in Phillips and Waller. I'm DJ Barber is an absolute stud. Okay, the linebacker that you pulled in, then DeMarcus Riddick, already turning heads in practice a couple of days in. Then you look at the secondary. A guy like Kenzie Faustin, that kid's going to ball out of Naples down in South Florida. The kid can absolutely play big corners and well. Amon Lane, big-time corner, a guy that's been locked in for like 2 years at this point. So from front to back, super impressed with the defense. And then obviously like a historical wide receiver class. Like I'll just read some of these numbers to you. Perry Thompson, 718 yards, 7 touchdowns. Malcolm Simmons, 1,279 yards, 14 touchdowns. Bryce Kane, 948 yards, 16 tutties. Cam Coleman, 1,372 yards, 18 tutties. Like we got playmakers, man. And me and Mike went and saw Cam Coleman. And I told the story this morning. The first play, Mike was like, might need to get the phone out so we don't miss anything. And Cam goes 75 to the house first play. Like he's just something that we haven't had at Auburn in such a long time. And when you get these kind of playmakers, you're not always when we preview these games, guys. What have we been doing when we play the big games? When we preview Georgia or Alabama, we go, okay, Auburn's got to win the turnover margin by 3, right? We got to do this, we got to do that. We have to nail it. We got to do everything perfect. When you get Cam Coleman's and Perry Thompson's, you ain't got to be perfect. It ain't got to be a perfect pass. If you get the false start on 3rd and 1, it's 3rd and 6, it's okay because you still got guys that are going to get open and you can throw it to. And that's what we haven't had. We haven't had the kind of talent that can make up for some of the mistakes. So, yeah, man, I mean, I think that 7, we're going to land here around 7. I think Hugh kind of overshot where I think he's like, okay, 7, because he was kind of saying I want to land around 10. And then next year, I want to land around 5. And the 25 class is currently sitting right there at 5th, pretty much everywhere you look. So I think even Hugh kind of has to sit back today and say, I'm proud of this. I'm proud of what we've done, especially going 6-6, man. It's not like you've been lighting the world on fire on the field, and to still bring this home, I think it says a lot. And this is why you bring Hugh Freeze to. This is what he does. I've spoken highly of. I think that when he runs his offense, I think he's a good coach. But this right here is what he does. Recruiting. This is why you bring him here. Talent acquisition. And he was in his bag today in this cycle. It's what he does.
Yep. Dylan, talk to me, man. Your thoughts.
I mean, I love it because we're seeing a different approach than we saw from last year. You saw Hugh Freeze, who tried to build up a competitive roster through the transfer portal, but this time around, he's actually trying to build a program based on recruits from the high school and JUCO range, which is what the championship programs tend to do. You don't see Bama and Georgia and like Michigan and Clemson all ranking all high in these transfer portal rankings like you do with like saying Ole Miss, who continuously will just never get above the hump because all they do is rely on transfer portal guys. So Lane Kiffin can't develop guys. But you're watching like Walker White come through and recruit some of these guys to come with them, and Perry Thompson, who gave me a heart attack today during work. That was a lot of fun. But you're just watching Hugh Freeze build a program that he knows he can turn into a championship caliber program. And he did that with a class that's probably going to see more action as a whole than we've seen from a whole freshman class before, especially from the fact that he went out and he got not 1, but 2 highly ranked long snappers. Auburn is long snapper U, so you gotta rep the brand that way. And still waiting to hear if Auburn's gonna get the number 1 kicker as well. So you gotta show up for the special teams group too.
Listen, let's talk about it. Rivals, according to Rivals, Auburn grabbed 5 guys from the Rivals 100. We're going to list all of the signees in a minute, but I want us to take a look at the 5 guys that landed in the Rivals 100 who's coming to the Plains. They are displayed here. I'm going to get rid of this here. Cam Coleman, DeMarcus Riddick, Perry Thompson, DeMonte Waller, Mr. Williams here, Morris Williams. Guys, when was the last time? Has this ever happened before?
Yeah, they've done something close before. It's just those guys didn't pan out, right? Which brings me to my thoughts on what they've done here in recruiting. Hugh Freeze was successful exactly what he put his energy into, and that was recruiting from high school. Today at the press conference, he said that he wanted the guys from high school to feel like they were the priority. And I think that that's what you saw here in these 5 guys that Auburn football went out and got. Is they made Cam, Perry, DeMarcus Waller, Amars feel like they were the priority. And Hugh reiterated something we've been saying on this show probably for close to 2 months now. To sustain a good program, it's people have become delusioned by the portal. This is how you build a good program. Through high school, and then you have to go out and you have to do this again and again and again. Because I'm telling you, of the 5 guys we're looking at here, one of these guys is by the odds is gonna be a bust. One of these guys is gonna bust. The top, what Hugh Freeze has said in the past, said when he came in, is that he was giving himself till year 3 to get here because he understood what a monumental task it was trying to recruit guys like this over the Alabamas and Georgias in the conference. They felt like they had an effective pitch. I asked them about that as well, too. Like, what's the message to recruits? Well, you can go to an already elite program, essentially, and jump on the train of what they're doing, or you can come to Auburn and blaze your own trail. He feels like that message was really effective recruits this go around. They got to go out and they got to sell it again and again and again, so that once some kid doesn't pan out, right, you have the next 4 or 5 star that can step in. You don't notice the busts at Alabama and Georgia all that often because they just move on to the next guy, sometimes before they played significant time. So that the focus, where they put the focus, and notice, you've got with Perry and Cam Coleman, you've got 2 skill position guys here, and then you've got some excellent defensive kids. So they're bolstering an already pretty good defense, and they're adding in the holes where they were at. Again, good at what you focused on. He focused on the skill positions because he talked a lot about catch radius and all that stuff, right? Like we need playmakers to put around the QB. Well, you went out, you got a QB and you got some playmakers. So, the vision for what they're going to be able to do this year is the other half of that coin of what was sold. And that's how you get these 5 guys that we're looking at to come into your program and believe what you're doing. Because if you're Perry, you're thinking, is there enough ball to go around for me and, Cam Coleman? Well, Hugh's certainly selling it to him that there is. So now you have to go out and show them that you have a plan to make that happen. Develop these guys. I'm telling you, they're going to have a bust. Somebody's going to bust. But just I'll use Cam Coleman as my example because he's the highest rated kid here. He's your can't miss prospect. That kid absolutely has to leave Auburn with some kind of record. If he doesn't, I'm telling you, that's on Freeze. And so what he's trying to do is he's trying to stack the deck in his favor in terms of recruiting so they can figure out what they're doing. The talent, Brian has said this all the time, coaches like Nick Saban and Kirby Smart don't always have to be the best game managers because they just go out and recruit so much talent. Their margin for error is much wider. What Hugh Freeze has done for year 3, he's increased his margin for error with these guys. Guys who will just go out and make a play for you, no matter how it's going. So, this is pretty unprecedented. Auburn has had, a couple of top 50 guys in a single class, but flipping Amaris Williams, I know Rivals has him, I guess, ranked 65th or so. I mean, some services have him as high as 37. Right. He's a top 50 guy, right? Williams is a top 50 guy. Waller, again, depending on what service you're looking at, is close to a top 50 guy. These are 5 top 50 guys.
We used to get one of these every other year, one, and it was never as high as the 5th overall. Well, Coward was one, but we know how that went.
Yeah,
but
right.
To your point, this is a lot of talent in one class. This is way more than we used to.
Yeah, you had needs, you addressed your needs, and they still have work to do, like Justin pointed out, offensive line, but they're not ignoring it. They know, as he also pointed out, it's kind of a shallow class maybe at that position.
Yeah.
So you go out and you do what you need to do. I think they can do. Listen, they improved the O line in year one. I ain't heard anybody said that line gave the quarterback a chance to play ball last year. They weren't perfect, but certainly if you were one of those people complaining about O-line, your complaints should have been markedly less this past season than it was the year before. And the year before that, when the quarterbacks were actually running for their lives. So I think they did a really, really good job at addressing things that they needed. And then they've got to figure out a plan. You need a plan B for when you don't get the guys you want. Right. So, the O-line thing didn't exactly go your way. Can you go out and find another Gunnar Britton to come into your program, bring some experience and just give you solid O-line play? I think they can do it. This is a step in the right direction. He said, if we're not in the top 7 in recruiting by year 3, everybody here is going to be looking for a job. He didn't even wait till year 3.
Right.
Just get in year 2. Good for him. And really, honestly, year 1 in terms of his first full recruiting cycle.
Right. This is really year 1 for him.
This is really year 1, if you ask me. So, he came in after most of the class was kind of like recruited, and they did what they could in the portal. But this was Hugh Freeze focusing all his power into this one thing, and it was successful. You ever hear some guy say, listen, you can be great at one thing or mediocre at a bunch of things? He decided he was going to be great at recruiting.
Yeah,
and get the dudes in, and let's figure out the rest after that. So, great job. You don't get these kind of guys to come in by accident. You just don't. Now, Coleman, I do believe Jimbo's firing was a catalyst. I do not believe that if Jimbo had stayed, that Cam Coleman would have been in this class. So that was a fortunate credit to them, though, for taking advantage of it.
Yeah,
Perry Thompson was the first domino in this. And instead of being threatened by each other, they sold them a vision. They're like, hey, man, let's just dominate with each other.
Well, see, and not to cut you off, Mike G, but that's what makes good classes these days in the age of recruiting. Good players want to play with good players. Like, they're not intimidated by your star ranking just because you're being recruited by the same school. They're like, oh, we could win together. So I think that has become the selling pitch that these coaches are using. I mean, that's what Walker White has basically been doing, trying to corral these guys together.
Right.
So go ahead, Mike.
Well, let me just cap with this. Right. Again, I want to reiterate that this is the result of Hugh Freeze saying high school recruiting is the priority. Mm-hmm. The portal is not the way to build a program. It's not. So you need to put yourself in a position where top portal guys definitely want to come play for you. You shouldn't be. He's trying to build a program where they're not fighting for top portal guys. They have a need, and there's a guy who's good in the portal, and he's good. I want to go play at Auburn because they've got a great offense, and they've got a great scheme, and they've got a rich tradition. Right now, they're having to fight for top portal guys, and it starts with the guys that you recruit out of high school, and then obviously the last piece is development. Yeah, and once you get the guys, you have to prove that you know what to do with them, because all 5 of the guys we're looking at here could transfer next year if they don't feel like it's going their way. So you've got to switch your focus quickly into how can I show these guys proof of concept of what I sold them in recruiting. Sure. They do need to see it. This is the job. Like, the portal made the top coaches in this game, it made their job significantly harder.
Yep.
Because you had to re-recruit your roster. If a guy didn't play much, if it doesn't go well in year 1, and they made a bold choice. They said, we're rolling with Peyton Thorne for year 2, trying to get to year 3 and hoping that he makes that jump. But you're going to have the same talent around Peyton Thorne, plus all this inexperienced talent. Somebody's going to get an opportunity to play early, and hopefully this spring, Perry's not coming in until the summer. Cam will have a spring to play with Peyton Thorne and see if he can get some chemistry with him. And some of these other guys will get a chance to get some experience and try to hit the ground running when summer workouts hit, to be in a position to contribute when the fall gets here. So it's going to be, like I said, this is the start, and it's still going to look rough. But this is the part that Hugh Freeze had to prove to the Auburn administration, to his bosses, and to the fan base that he could do. And that's go out and get the talent that Saban and Kirby are getting. At Alabama, guys, you're shaking in your shoes at this. Freeze said today, he was like, I don't know if we won the state, but, you guys can tell me better. But, obviously we're trying to get there. Holy crap, you took great steps in that direction. So it puts people on notice. It puts people on notice that you can no longer come into Auburn's backyard and take who you want to walk out. Like, that's not happening anymore.
Right.
Great job.
Gentlemen, jump in here. Any thoughts about these guys you see pictured here? Hugh Freeze grabbing them in year one. Who has thoughts on this?
I just see 5 ballers. I just see 5 ballers. I mean, like I'm not gonna be shy about what I watched up close with Cam Coleman. He's unreal, man. And Perry, the same thing. We talked about this a lot on our show. Perry had a 14-year-old, a sophomore, throwing him the ball all year. So it's not a knock on the sophomore. It's not even a knock on the kid, right? He might develop into a good quarterback. That's just tough. So they were really they were halfback dives with Perry, all kind of stuff. He played a whole lot of he never came off the field. There was the 2 games that I watched Perry play, he maybe came off the field for a total of 10 reps. I'm talking special teams, everything. The kid's a stud. He wants to win. You could tell that losing this year really affected him. Jamonte Waller, I think B. Will, you watched his highlights with us today. Just a freak, dude, an absolute freak. He's and then your flip today is a top 50 player at almost every service you look at. So yeah, man, these are building blocks right here. This is a great day for us.
Dustin, not enough people are talking about DeMarcus Riddick.
Nick Saban wanted him really bad, Mike. That tells me a lot.
Yeah, like not enough people are talking about DeMarcus Riddick. He secretly might be the stud of this class. And Ron Roberts, we're talking about proof of concept. He's got a ton to sell top recruits right now.
Oh yeah.
Look at what we did. This is Ron Roberts talking. Look at what we did with who we had. And tell me you don't want to come play in this system and be part of something that will be elite in a year or two. Holy crap, man. I can't stress enough. He is such a good kid too. Like they got their ideal student athlete in DeMarcus Riddick.
Yeah.
Just smart kid, all the physical gifts, great family, just going to be a great teammate and leader for Ron Roberts. He's the guy that's not going to end up on a list on your desk. He's going to do all the things that you ask him to do. And you're going to get the privilege of just being able to coach football with him. Not to mention, he's going to be one of those kids that's kind of like a coach on the field for Ron Roberts. Great pickup. I can't stress enough. I know Perry and Cam are going to get a lot of the hype, deservedly so, because the bigger need, I think, was at wide receiver. But DeMarcus Riddick is going to be an all-SEC performer for Auburn. So
I expect that.
He's the one I think is actually least likely to bust on this list.
I'm going Cam when it comes to that.
I don't
see a world where Cam busts.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I'm not going with Cam is because he can't throw himself the ball. Right? Like
he might.
He can't throw himself the ball.
Let's see how next season started out.
I don't know.
Bring a whole new dimension to Coleman and Thompson.
Did you see Cam throw himself the ball?
Yeah.
Twice?
It's tough with receivers, right? We had former Auburn pros come on and say at the receiver position that you are the least in control of your destiny. You can do all the things right and just not get the ball for a myriad of reasons before it gets to you. DeMarcus Riddick will go out there and he'll rush and cover and blow through blocks and tackle at a high level. And he doesn't need the football. He's going to go find it.
Dylan, well, before I get to you, Dylan, before we get to the break, I got my eyes on Waller after what I saw. I know it's a highlight tape, but my goodness, can he come off the edge or what? So I'm excited about that, considering a year ago we were scrambling trying to find players to play the jack position. I'm excited about him in that position. Dylan, your thoughts on some of the top signees that we got in our class? What you got?
I mean, before Perry Thompson signed, it was DeMarcus Riddick who came. He was a guy who was a heavy Georgia lean for the longest time, and then there was talks he was going to go to Bama, and then out of nowhere here he comes to Auburn. And Mike G has it right. I think out of the 5, he's the least likely to bust. When NCAA 24 comes out, I'm going to use Auburn. He's going to be my user. I've already decided that. That's myself. Just because that's just how athletic he is. He is going to be a guy who can cover sideline to sideline. He's just strong, fast. Everything you want out of a linebacker is DeMarcus Riddick, a guy who, out of the 5 of these guys, I mean, it's kind of hard to debate with the 2 wide receivers on this list, but if I were to put money on it, DeMarcus Riddick is probably going to be the starting linebacker next year, just because of how good he is, and just everything about DeMarcus Riddick just screams, I'm going to be an all SEC, all freshman at the bare minimum, but he's just going to be a star in the making. And I mean, Perry Thompson and Cam Coleman are just a dynamic duo that might be covering the outside this upcoming year.
We will talk more about this recruiting class. We actually have them all listed out. We'll discuss them and kind of point out other guys who signed with us today. But we're talking about a consensus top 10 recruiting class, 8th currently on Rivals, 5th in the SEC, 7th nationally in 247, and on 3 and 4th in the SEC. I'll ask you a question about that when we return from the break. But you guys are watching the Midweek Rapport, where we are reviewing National Signing Day or early National Signing Day. Share this content with those who are looking for Auburn content. Smash that like button and subscribe if you just found our channel. We'll take a pause. We'll return to continue talking this recruiting class in just a moment.
This edition of the War Report is brought to you by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. When you work out, grill out, and chill out, you deserve the best life possible, and Golden's Cast Iron is here to provide the tools to help you do it. Check them out at GoldensCastIron.com. And our giveaway sponsor, War Eagle Oil. For all of your motor oil and related products, head over to WarEagleOil.com.
Guys, become a patron. $5.99 a month will get you there. Help support the work that we're doing here at the War Report by signing up as a patron member. If you like the content that you see, you can help us bring you more of that this off season. It's off season for football, but not for basketball and baseball, which we will be covering, as well as a little gymnastics. We're bringing you coverage on all Auburn sports. Also, check out the Uptempo podcast for some of that baseball coverage. Dustin and Blake do a great job over there, and you know they like baseball. They love baseball. So
damn right.
we're supporting them. You can support them by supporting us. Become a patron. You can also give the gift of the War Report by giving that gifted membership button a press. Gifted memberships are a great program that YouTube has started to help creators grow. You guys have done a good job helping us with this. Give the gift of the War Report this Christmas by gifting a membership. This show is brought to you in part by MANSCAPED. Santa Baby, the season for a fresh cut is finally here with the sponsors of today's show. MANSCAPED, the leader in below-the-waist grooming, have just launched their 5th-generation performance package to help you avoid another silent night in the bedroom. Take care of your special snowflake with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra and watch your South Pole shine like never before. Get the best stocking stuffer of all by going to manscaped.com and using code REPORT for 20% off plus free shipping. Mrs. Claus will thank you. I don't know if you guys just call your woman Mrs. Claus, but maybe don't call her that if she is not into that. But the fun doesn't stop there. Anybody in the family could have some scrub too. Look no further than Manscaped's Beard Hedger Pro Kit and the Handyman Electric Shaver. I have this for all the facial hair needs that you have. Again, get 20% off and free shipping with code REPORT at manscaped.com. That's 20% off free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code Rapport. Guys, quick shout out to the Rapport Podcast Network. We are growing on podcasts like crazy right now. Again, Dustin is here from the Uptempo, Dylan from the College Loop, Justice Sec, the Auburn Express, lots of audio-only content. If you're on your way to work, school, class, wherever you're going, the War Report is there for you on your mobile device in audio-only format. We're working hard to bring you guys some audio-only content there. So subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, help us grow our community.
Guys, let's get back to it, and let's look at the list of, well, before we do that, I'm gonna grab some comments because you guys have commented a while back. Ed Darby says this will be a useful top 10 class. I agree with you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Dre Jones says Coach Freeze and his staff out here in these streets standing on business. Very current reference there.
Yeah.
I like that. Corey Weber says, I bet he was up all night playing video games with Perry. He actually made mention of playing video games late at night. And I think that's what Corey Weber was referring to. These coaches do a lot to connect with these kids.
Yeah, they do.
They said Perry went dark on him. Perry had him worried. I said something about Walker White having to call him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Perry went dark on him yesterday up until he signed was what I read somewhere. So Perry gave him a little scare.
So was he pranking all of us at the same time, including Hugh Freeze?
Yep.
Maybe.
Hey, quit playing.
He's committed. He's committed to this troll.
Don't run with Perry Thompson. He's gonna do some more.
My heart did skip a beat when he put that Bama hat on. It skipped a beat for a quick second.
He took so long to take off that Letterman jacket from the angle I saw. He was just very slowly just taking it off. And then finally saw the Navy jersey. I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. James Morris says Walker is a top 100 on 247. There you go. I mean, again, these guys are rated kind of all over the place depending on what recruiting service you're referencing. Wesley Hilson says, Mike G, you have it partially right. Coach Hugh Freeze not only served notice to coaches with this class, but he also served notice to the roster as well.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, he got that message on.
Yeah. Listen, let's talk about the rest of we pointed out some of the top 5 guys according to Rivals. Let's take a look at how the rest of this class stacks out. Very impressive group here. Got them listed here. Let me fix you there. There you go. Outside of the guys that we've already mentioned, I'm going to have to say that one of the guys that I'm really excited about is Joseph Phillips, because this was pretty much, when we talk about the first domino, to me, this was the first domino here, because this was a guy who, in our backyard, who looked like he was all but ready to commit to Georgia, and in the final moments, Hugh Freeze and staff got him. That then led to DeMarcus Riddick, then leading to Perry Thompson, and then the momentum began to pick up after that. Malcolm Simmons committed that same week. To me, he was the domino. Obviously, you can argue Walker White as well back early in the year when he committed. But to me, the momentum really picked up in this summer with that guy, and I'm curious to see how he's going to do. Coming in at linebacker, again, a very quality pickup. There's a few other guys that I'm sure you guys are going to mention, but I'm going to start off by mentioning I'm excited about Joseph Phillips. I'm gonna toss this to B. B, who else on this list that you see committed to us that you are excited to see in an Auburn jersey?
Man, there's like 5 of them, but I got to say Bryce Kane, for all the hype about Perry Thompson and Cam Coleman, deservedly so for those guys. I didn't watch Bryce Kane play in person. I think, Dustin, you got to see him play in person. And from anybody who's seen him play in person, unreal speed is what they keep saying over and over and over again. I cannot wait to get a guy with that type of speed in the slot on the field with 2 guys on the outside like Thompson and Coleman. Like this could be unreal. Like no bad choices anywhere on the field. We've been battling for a year with wide receivers. Oh, can they get open or can't they get open? It's like, okay, maybe they can, but we definitely couldn't make contested catches. But what if every guy at all the spots can get open easily and make contested catches? Like it's been so long. It's been so long. We haven't seen that much talent on the field at one time since like 2004. It's been a very long time. I cannot wait to see this man, what he can do. I think, is he signing early? I think, excuse me, is he coming early is what I meant.
Yeah,
I think he's getting in early.
Yeah, I think so.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. I can't wait to see him. Spring game, fall camp, regular season. Bryce Cain's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Talk to me, Dylan. What you got?
Well, yeah, everyone knows that I love the special teams, but it's hard for me not to bug a little bit about DeAndre Carter. You go into modern day and you get the number 3 offensive lineman in the class per 24/7. Dude's just a dog. At 340 pounds, it can move like he's 100 pounds lighter than he is. He is just a strong, fast, physical interior offensive lineman that I've heard that they might try to move to the outside once he loses some of those pounds. But he can plug and play anywhere on the offensive line, and he's going to look awesome right next to Connor Lew. I'll say honorable mention goes to Dylan Gentry because of all the comments we've been getting, and they gave me a good laugh. But that kid's also a dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Listen, I love Bryce Cain. It's a great pick, people. I watched him a lot this year. Really fell in love with his game. I'm gonna go DJ Barber though. I think DJ Barber. I love DeMarcus Reddick. I know we just talked about him. DJ might be the best linebacker in this class. It's not. It's not the measurables. The kid just knows how to play football. Yeah. Just go back and watch the state championship game versus Saraland. Saraland got players all over the field, bro. They got guys everywhere. I mean, Ryan Williams went off for 4 tutties. And DJ, in my opinion, watching that game, I'm like, this guy might be the best football player out here. Instincts. He's just around the ball every single play. He plays football like it's 1995. I love it. And then the honorable mention is going to be Caleb Harris. That was probably the funnest package of highlights we watched today. Just if they're going to use him the way they used Donovan Coughlin and Keontae Scott this year, Caleb Harris in 2 years is going to be a problem for the SEC.
One of the things that I've heard said, Dustin, about DJ Barber is that they say that DeMarcus Riddick is the most athletically gifted of the two.
Yeah.
But DJ Barber is the more polished linebacker.
He's just a football player, man.
Yeah, is what they've said. So
state championship saving tackle.
Yeah. So
on a big time player in KJ Lacey. Yeah.
Good selections. Mike G, who stands out outside of the top 5 that we have already discussed?
I just think the most important player in this class is Walker White. They told you today what their plan was. They did not go after a quarterback in the portal. There's not a running back in this class. They went after wide receivers to throw to, so the future quarterback would have somebody to throw to. Guys, if Walker White busts, this program's in trouble. The way they set this up, or they're going to be desperate for a quarterback in the portal the next cycle. So Walker White has to play well. That is their development project, and it is Hugh Freeze's notice to future quarterbacks that he knows what he's doing with quarterbacks. Top 100 kid, you recruited him. He got on board from the jump. He will be here early for the spring. He will have 2 springs to win the starting job at Auburn. And if he doesn't, you're going to obviously in the 2025 cycle, you're going to go after another quarterback. But they're betting on guys from high school and at quarterback. That's what they're telling us. We're going to ride with Peyton Thorne.
That's how you do it.
Which we told everybody that was happening. Everyone was like, Cam Ward, Grayson McCall. No, nobody. Right? It's like Arch Manning or nobody. It had to be a guy that significantly moved the needle because they did not want to upset the balance of their high school recruiting. It's true. You can't keep bringing in all these super experienced guys and then using experience as a reason that the younger guys are not playing. At some point, some guy with not a lot of experience is going to have to take the reins because he's clearly the best. I think that's primarily why we didn't see Holden Geriner more this year.
Yeah.
There was experience. Well, when you bring a guy up from high school, you develop him for, a spring, a fall, and another spring. He's got to be the dude. That's the way they're setting this up. So to me, I know it sounds obvious saying quarterback, but in the particular dynamics of this coach's recruiting cycle, set the quarterback that they recruited in this cycle up to be the key cog in the future of the program. Now, you may not see him next year. I mean, if we see Walker White in 2024, something went really wrong.
Right.
I promise you, they don't want him to see the field next year. They don't. They want to save him for 2025 and then send him out there with a bunch of receivers who will have a year of experience and be able to make saving plays for him as he comes along in terms of his on-the-field experience. But it's Walker White to me, man. That guy, and I believe in his talent. I think he's super talented. I think he's a great kid. Again, another guy that will be a clear leader for Hugh Freeze that he just doesn't have to worry about. He's going to go out. He's going to do it. He's going to show up to class. He's going to park where he's supposed to park. You know what I mean? And he's going to help little old ladies across the street. He's going to donate his NIL to, save kittens. And then and you're just going to worry about football with him. That's Walker White to me. I think stand up guy, and he's funny, man. Right? I was around Walker one time, and a parent and went up to Walker, and she was like, "You have nice eyes," and Walker looked this lady straight in the face and was like, "Hey, fire." Right? I was like, wait, what kind of response is that? Well, obviously, this man thinks a lot of his own eyes. Hopefully, those eyes will help him see receivers downfield in 2025.
That's
see the DB so he doesn't throw that way.
Yeah,
right.
Sure. Hopefully, that fire.
He sees pressure. He sees where the pressure is coming from and checks out of certain stuff.
Yeah. Sure.
All right, gentlemen, we got a question from Jay Jones. He says, "What grade do y'all give this class?"
That
is a good question here.
A plus.
Yeah, well, I can't give it a plus.
I'm gonna give it an A. I'm just gonna give it an A.
Yeah, I can't give it a plus, Dylan, only
because
because
I almost want to give it an incomplete. I almost want to give it an incomplete because we're still waiting on a few names to come through.
You got one offensive line recruit.
We got two.
Okay, one out of high school.
JUCO, but yeah,
one out of high school.
He's got 3 years of eligibility left.
That's
true.
Yeah, they've got to do more there, obviously, but it was a shallow class. So of all the positions on the field, offensive line is the most developmental position in terms of getting guys physically ready to play at this level. But a lot of kids come in and you could put a receiver on the field year one, and physically, if he's just talented, if he's just faster than everybody else, it's not going to take him a year to get faster. He's just going to be fast, right? A lineman needs to build size and strength and learn technique and do all these other things that I think take more time to develop. So it just sticks at an A for me. If they bring in the 2 linemen that they're talking about, it might be an A plus.
Yeah.
If they get Eccles and the other guy, it might bump it to A plus.
Yeah.
Speaking of the other guy, when is Favor Edwin supposed to be committing? Because I think he was supposed to commit today. I don't know if he ever officially said
he was supposed to, but I haven't heard anything about him. And I know it's between us, Bama and
right?
Florida.
Yeah,
I think I heard it was just us in Florida now.
Yeah, the longer it takes, the better it is for Auburn.
Right.
Yeah. The longer it takes, the better it is probably for Auburn because Hugh is in his bag. Figuring out which one of these recruiting pitches is going to work best for him.
Right? I'm gonna say A just because I don't what's so impressive about this class is I don't think people realize how tough it is to bring in a top 10 class in year one. You are already playing catch up to most of your top. I mean, you got to think about who we went head to head with.
Yeah.
Dude, like KJ Bolden had Auburn nowhere in his top 10 or top 20 beginning of this year.
Right.
For us to go down to the wire with this kid on early signing day is amazing.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of the guys who we missed out for, they were not checking for Auburn just a year ago.
Yeah.
So just to look at what these guys have done just to play catch up. And it started with, I believe, the junior day that they had early this year, where they had a bunch of 2024 recruits come in, tour the facility, meet with the coaches. A lot of these kids got excited about Auburn. Auburn got on a lot of these kids' radar. This coaching staff worked. And so for them to be able to land the guys they did, they beat out Bama for 2 guys that they wanted.
Yeah.
When has that happened in the past several years? This guy did it
might
in year
be
one.
3. It might be 3.
It might be a third one. And we're not done yet, right? So for them to do the job they did, man, like this is a shoot, A+. Shoot, I talked myself into an A+. I'm gonna give it an A+ just because of the way you have to play catch up. I think 2025, they're on even footing with all their rivals. They're on even footing with these other schools, and now you really have a true head-to-head. But for them to come from behind and do what they did is impressive. So I'm gonna give it an A+. Gentlemen, I don't know if anybody. I think Mike, you said A. Dylan, you said A. I don't know if you gave a grade.
I gave the A+.
You gave it A+.
Just the time it took, just being at such a disadvantage with recruiting, because you're recruiting these guys 2 years in advance. Right. He had a few months, and he just turned it around. All he really had was a Mon Lane and a dream, and he turned that into a top 10 class. And you only really lost one commitment that you had, and that was Martavius Collins, who Auburn backed off.
Really wasn't a loss.
Yeah, and he's going to be playing for the UTEP Miners this year. And I just looked that up just to see where exactly he went. But you look at it from just a time span, and he turned, again, I'm on lane into Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson, Amaris Williams, Marcus Riddick, Jamonta Waller. The list goes on and on and on. He's bringing in 2 highly touted long snappers. He's still in the mix for 2 very good offensive linemen, and he doesn't need the portal as much as other teams do now, because he's building such a foundation for a team that he wants to win championships with. So A+ for right now, but the grading scale is going to be different in 2025.
Correct. Gentlemen, let's kind of talk about let's talk about some of the guys we were holding out hope for. We'll be real brief with them. The KJ Boldens, the LJ McCrays of the world. We missed out on those guys. It was really close with KJ, I feel like it was really close. Even after FSU, his visit, I was hearing Auburn a good bit on Monday. Then Tuesday came, and we was hearing nothing but Georgia. I think Kirby played and timed this very well, in my opinion. It's almost like what could have been. What could have been here? Thoughts on KJ, thoughts on LJ. I mean, we got what we got. We're happy with our class, but you kind of wonder what could have been had we grabbed one of those 2 guys.
Yeah, you're just not going to get everybody. That's the bottom line. I think that it was impressive that they got in the mix for KJ, but honestly, he was always a long shot. I thought he had a better chance with LJ. It was getting any one of those 2 guys would have been insane. And we know, because we know that there are a lot of other factors that the coach is having to contend with, and it just is what it is. So, I don't, like I say, it sometimes the book gets started and everybody's like, oh, we landed this guy, we gotta get this guy and that guy. I think they outperformed. They're not proving anything extra by getting those guys. I think they've already proved they can recruit. The programs that you're up against for guys like that have just accomplished a lot more than you have at this point. So you got the guys that you have, prove that you know what to do with them, and then the next recruiting cycle, whatever next year's version of KJ Bolden and LJR, then you'll have a better shot with those guys in that recruiting cycle.
Yeah, and half the battle of recruiting is retention. So you're trying to like people say NIL is this big thing. Well, Georgia and Florida are going to have more NIL opportunities because, Florida just lost, I don't know how many recruits. Right. They dropped like 10 spots. And Georgia probably lost their biggest bag maker in Dylan Raiola, who went to Nebraska with the corniest flip message I've ever read in my life.
It's a double entendre.
Yes.
Pun intended. Yeah. But they have more leeway with their guys after they lose like their big money targets. They're probably gonna go a little harder at these guys.
Yeah. I want to get to a quick comment here because the people will go back and forth over this on social media like a lot about whether it's coach speak about the quarterback position or not. Guys, it's not. It's not. We knew this a month ago. They're not going after a quarterback. It has to be a game changer. Otherwise, they feel like they
on the
can
discount. Kinda?
yeah, right. And then the money is still restrictive. If you're going after a game changer, the money is restrictive. Now, people seem to be forgetting that. The NIL bucket is not endless. It's just not. Somebody has to give the money that it's going to cost in NIL to go after a top portal QB. So the game is just different than it was. If you want to bring a guy in, you've got to, and you want him to be someone who moves the needle and actually has a chance to start over the guys that you have who have been in your system. That guy has to clearly be better. And to get that guy, you all but have to promise him the job. Guys, Auburn is not the place anybody's coming to compete right now if you're a top portal quarterback. If you're telling me there's a chance that Peyton Thorne might start over me and I'm a top portal QB, I'm not going there. I'm just not, right? Because that means you already have some predisposition to him. If you're going after a top quarterback, it's because it's a guy that you know is going to be better. Right. So to say, there's no way that he relies on Thorne. I don't know what else to say to this. Like, he said it. I mean, he has not done a ton of coach speak this year at all. Hugh Freeze has said exactly what he was thinking, and it has panned out that way, right? So it's they feel the feeling internally, and I'm talking about what we know, right? This is not conjecture. This is what we know. The feeling internally was they did not know how good Peyton Thorne was because of some of the talent around him.
Or lack thereof.
Or lack of talent around him. So they're not convinced that he can't play at least to the level that he did at Michigan State, which would easily net Auburn 8 wins next year. You give Peyton Thorne 2,800 passing yards, Auburn's going to win 8 next year.
Right.
But the 1,200 yards of drop-off in terms of production over Michigan State, some of that was what they were asking him to do, and some of that was him. They feel like he can play better. And when they took a look at the situation, it was like, all right, what's it going to take to go out and get a guy who's clearly better? Well, once you hit the money, it's like the chances go like there's the biggest stumbling block there is the money.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how else to say it. Matt Rule has complained about it openly. He said that if you want a top quarterback QB, you need $1 million. Now, the numbers are a little more inflated than a lot of people think, but the truth is that what he's saying is accurate. You need top dollar.
Market. You got to consider the market.
Yeah, you need top dollar.
There are other schools who will drive the price up considering how desperate they are for that same QB.
Correct.
So he may not cost that much, but once you get into a 3-man battle with 2 schools, that price you end up maybe paying more for a quarterback than you originally anticipated.
Correct.
And I want to be clear here, guys. It's not that these kids don't feel that they can compete. This coaching staff already has it set in their mind how they think 2024 is going to go.
Yeah.
So you have to consider you got to bring in a QB who is so undeniable, it causes them to reset their expectations and thoughts about that QB room.
I kind of like I know this is kind of like a pro comparison, but if you're a pro team and Tom Brady, in his prime or even near the end, I mean, I feel like he had like 18 years of prime, but if he wants to come to your team, it doesn't matter who's on the roster.
Right.
Tom Brady wants to come play for you.
Right.
That's what it was going to take for them to aggressively go after a quarterback in the portal this cycle. Then he backs it up today by saying we wanted the kids from high school to feel like they were the priority.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's been talking about recruiting. He's telling you exactly what he's thinking this whole time. And then he's asking for patience repeatedly.
Right.
You need patience for kids that you're recruiting from high school. The portal is a stopgap. Those guys need to come in. You're not picking up developmental projects from the portal at top dollar. You're just not. You're bringing in can't miss prospects that are going to start immediately and instantly be the best guy for top dollar. It's like pro sports. This is what pro sports is. You give a guy a big contract, he's going to play. You invested all your money there.
And considering where Auburn is, right? Like Hugh Freeze has described Auburn as a rebuild. So if you're going to rebuild, your priority has to be high school.
Yeah. Look, I just want to be clear on this. This isn't conjecture. This isn't like this. We know this. We were told this. months ago that they're unlikely to go out and get a quarterback. They took a look at who was in there, and they just said, nobody was available that moves the needle, or the price isn't right, or like
perfect example of this, guys, because I know some of y'all are arguing about QB Riley Leonard. Auburn had a shot at Riley Leonard, but guess who came calling? Guess who also was interested? Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They really need a quarterback.
Yeah, it was his dream school too. Yeah.
Yeah, they really needed a quarterback. So Auburn didn't put up much of a fight because Auburn already knew what they were doing or what they had in the QB room. So
yeah.
Where's Riley Leonard today?
Yeah.
Yeah. And something that Hugh Freeze said during that presser of the opening of bowl practices that I thought was the most astute observation, and the one place I agreed with him when it came to quarterback and quarterback development and recruiting which was year one for a transfer. They are not the difference makers that everybody hopes that they are. Look at what Jaden Daniels year one versus Jaden Daniels year two. Michael Penix last year versus Michael Penix this year. Joe Burrow 2018 versus Joe Burrow 2019. That is where I go, you know what? You're right about that one, Hugh. There is the argument then becomes, all right, so is year two Peyton Thorne if I shore up some deficiencies everywhere versus year one of another guy? Because that's what I'm doing here. I'm saying that first year, I'm seeing it across the nation. That first year is an investment in getting you acclimated to a new place, new system, new players around you. Year two is when the real payoff comes. So if you think that there's anything worth redeeming about what you saw from Peyton Thorne year one, you go, okay, let's forget about what happened year one. Year two is when we're going to see your true potential.
At the very least, you can you can evaluate him better this year after having a full spring, year two under the system.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to bring in a guy that, again, you have to go out and recruit quarterbacks from high school, and you're going to make it harder on yourself if you keep bringing in these guys who have all this experience with 2 years of eligibility left.
Yeah, it would have had to be a 1 year guy would have been the only thing that made sense.
Correct. Yeah. So it's got to make sense for the situation that you're trying to set up. He's trying to set something up long term for the future. Hugh Freeze has been pretty clear. He's not coaching for a one-hit wonder, and I think it's the better way, honestly.
It's sustainable.
Gus gave Auburn national championship aspirations in year one and never touched them after that. I'd rather see the slow build to something great, and understanding, brace yourself for 7-5 next year. All else to say it, and then beyond that, they've got the shot to be insane. You start bringing in more can't miss prospects from high school. You start a pipeline, and it takes off. And then you get some surprises from the portal at other positions. QB is such a different conversation when it comes to the portal, because you can only play one guy, and it has a ripple effect through the rest of your program every time you go out and get a portal QB and then promise them the job.
And last point here is what I'll say before we get to this comment into the drawing. I think in year two, guys, now that Freeze has been here about a year now, he's a lot more pickier in the portal than he was last year. Last year, he couldn't afford to be picky. He had to take what was there.
Yeah,
right?
This year, he's like, all right, we know what we got. Right. We know a little bit more what we got. We know what we need. I agree 100%. Yeah, he's going to be a lot pickier.
There's only like 5 quarterbacks available right now in the portal that are even worth conversing over. Jordan McLeod from JMU, you haven't really seen him on the SEC ranks, and then of course you have DJ Uiagalelei, who kind of got carried by an Oregon State team that was really good. I'll just move on from him, as B-Will says. Then you have back-to-back guys who haven't really proven themselves on the big stage yet. Malachi Nelson and Malik Murphy. Haven't really seen them. Malik Murphy, you've seen a couple games of, but he did not win Texas those games that they did win. Some of those were a little bit of a struggle fest. And then lastly, is it worth spending the $2 million on Cam Ward and giving
number
up
gets big every time we hear it.
and giving up guys like Perry Thompson or DeMarcus Riddick or guys in this portal or guys in this recruiting class are going to be here longer than Cam Ward's going to be here. Dude's on his 6th year, I think, because I think he played at Incarnate Word a couple of years, and then now he's at Washington State.
Yeah.
No one's worth it. And if you were going to get some guy, you would have already gotten one because everyone else has already been taken. Aiden Chili's is already at Michigan State. Dante Moore is already at Oregon. And I hear people say Dylan Gabriel in the chat. What did Dylan Gabriel win at Oklahoma?
What did he win or what did he do? Because I mean, do you have to? Again, I'm gonna. I say this when Hugh Freeze had his comments about Peyton Thorne. I thought it was very kind of like, all right, coach, to say who's the most wins returning quarterback. Like, all right, come on, man. Like, we doing that. He had 2 NFL wide receivers around him. Of course, he can look good then. And to what I'm saying here is it's not a QB. Wins are not a QB stat. That's what I'm trying to say. Wins are not a QB stat. So did he win anything? No, not really. But that doesn't mean he didn't play really well. He was actually like top 3 in a bunch of QB metrics for the season last year. That's valuable. He was a great decision maker, run and threw accurately. I think that's an improvement from where we are right now. I'm not saying you pay the top dollar to get him. That's not what I'm saying. I wouldn't either. But I would take a Dylan Gabriel right now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Look, I mean, the long-term vision, if the long-term vision, which is what Freeze has been saying, is develop a pipeline, then this is the right approach for the vision that they're stating they have. Right. And I don't know why you would coach speak your vision for your program. That doesn't make any damn sense. Right. He's telling you from day one since he got here, first presser. Recruiting is super important. I was actually so happy to hear him say at the press conference that they actually wanted the kids from high school to feel like they were the priority.
Right.
Based on how you managed year one, I thought that was a very, very smart thing to say out loud. But, it was where he was always headed with this. So if that's his vision, then it doesn't make sense to go looking for these one-hit wonders from the portal at QB. Develop a guy, get Walker White in here, make him into a dude, right? And then recruit the next dude. And then try to create a pipeline, right? And then next time you go back to the portal, it's for an experienced guy who maybe he's not going to be a top dollar guy, but he's a guy that can step in if your young guy falters. With some experience, and you understand what I'm saying? Like you're not going to the portal and you're making it clear to him. You're coming in and you're going to play behind this kid.
And it's probably going to be from a group of 5, a QB from a group of 5 if you're doing that.
Well, you have a coach who is a known quarterback developer. Why would you want to just have a revolving door of quarterbacks whenever you have another year of eligibility out of one dude? And of course, you have Holden Garner who has 3 years, and you have Walker White who's going to have 4 years. Why would
you've already invested in those guys?
Exactly.
Right?
Why would you not want to give the quarterback developer more time to develop this quarterback? I know I wasn't the biggest fan of Peyton Thorne at the time, but granted. Really? I mean, that speaks for itself back behind me. But he only had a month or two
just say the obvious, why don't you, Dylan? By the way, I love Auburn.
I never got that from you, Dylan.
Yeah, right.
But he didn't have the time to get acquainted with the scheme that the rest of the quarterbacks did. Give him an offseason. Give him a shot. If that's coming from me. Give Peyton Thorne a shot. And
he is still high on Holden Garner.
Yeah. Look, listen,
another thing too. So So
experience was the only reason that Holden didn't play more. And I'll tell you this, right? They still feel like they're about a year away from doing what they really want to be able to do. Freeze's quarterbacks throw the ball like 400 times a year, 450, right? Peyton Thorne came in at 239, and they just didn't feel like they had the pieces to play this thing the way they would normally play it. And so next year, again, just look at the construction of the roster. It's still, if you bring in a quarterback, it doesn't change that you feel like you don't have the pieces around that guy to, you know what I mean? Right? Mm-hmm. Like the guy that you would bring in would have to effectively be one of those dudes that makes everybody around him better.
Right. And
That's-
I don't think there is one of those this cycle. There
Right,
isn't
right.
one.
I mean, I use Tom Brady as an example because at the pro level, he was that guy, right? He
Right.
played with nobody receivers his whole career. And the one time they gave him a Hall of Fame receiver, he broke almost every single in-season record that ever existed for a quarterback in terms of touchdowns. And the receiver set the record for most touchdowns caught in the season.
Yeah.
So you got to be that kind of guy where you bring him in and you're thinking, okay, he is throwing like these receivers that everybody thinks suck so bad. When you bring in a game changer at quarterback, suddenly these receivers look great because they're all these perfectly placed balls and everything looks peachy, right? Yeah, and if you're not bringing that guy in, I say roll with Peyton Thorne and Holden Gardner and let them duke it out for the job and get to year 3. Right. It may not be exciting and it may not be sexy. And if you're not a Peyton Thorne fan, then I get why you would poo-poo the idea of this. But this is what they've chosen to do. He's saying it out loud, and people are just like, "That's not what he said. Is not what he said." And I'm like, look at what he's saying, and then look at what he's doing.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
the actions and the words line up. I don't know how to say it.
Let's get back to the recruits, guys. We got all off season to talk QB, but when we get back from the break or from the giveaway, I do want to talk about some of the guys still on the board, our thoughts about them, as well as some potential portal guys. We did pick up a guy at the portal today as well. Dorian Masai, I think is his last name.
I struggled so hard with his name.
Yeah,
Dude, linebacker.
Yeah. So we'll talk about him once we come back from the giveaway. But guys, we are giving away. Is it a T-shirt, Mike G?
It's a mug. It's a mug.
It's a mug. We're moving stuff all the way around here. We're giving away a mug courtesy of War Eagle Oil. Hashtag get your weight up, guys. We're ready to draw. Mike G, take it away, sir.
Let's go here. Is Lisa? I haven't seen Lisa today. Oh no, I think I
She
saw
in
her.
here. She in here. I saw Lisa.
Yeah, I come in. I instantly look for Lisa.
Oh, they did Lisa dirty.
Oh,
They did
no.
you dirty, Lisa.
Yeah, algorithm
Yikes.
is so unkind. Karen Parker, Karen, don't be a Karen. Be here.
Don't do Karen like that.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Karen.
Congratulations, Karen.
Karen, are you here though?
You got to be here. You got to be here, Karen.
Are you here?
To
Let us
win.
know if you're here.
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving because we still got some time here. Cohen Eccles.
Mhm.
He is supposed to sign on Friday. I believe that's
His birthday.
his birthday. Okay,
Yep.
thanks for that, Dylan. I knew it was something special on Friday for him, but he is signing. He received some crystal balls to
time out.
LSU.
Karen's here. Karen, I'm sure you're lovely, Karen, and I love you, and I just want you to know that. But send us a quick email, business@thewarreport. Do we have the graphic?
Yeah, we can. I always want to ask Karen, it's like, how do you feel about what they did to your name?
It turned into a verb. Stop, Karen.
Yeah.
Business
Email
at
us.
the Warreport.
Yeah, this is at the Rapport, Karen. Congratulations. We need your physical address, and we will send you your mug. Thanks again for supporting us. Back to Cohen Eccles. He's supposed to receive some predictions or crystal balls to LSU after his visit this past weekend. It's not looking great. I think the thing to keep in mind here for him is that home has always been a big thing. I think that's what made it so surprising when he decommitted from Texas A&M. He was a Texas A&M legacy. Staying home was big for him. He was big on the school. So it doesn't surprise me that he gets to play at another SEC school closer to home than Auburn. But your thoughts, gentlemen?
Man, I would like to get another lineman in this class. That's base. I just want another lineman in this class. We graded the class when we most said A. I agree, it's an A. I thought we were struggling with offensive linemen early when the recruiting cycle. So Khalil House didn't pan out. Dustin was actually one of the guys outlining this. Khalil House didn't pan out. There was another offensive lineman. I think he ended up committing to Georgia Tech. I can't remember which guy it was, but that was over the summer. We haven't been hitting on our offensive lineman the way we've been hitting at linebacker, wide receiver, defensive back. So I would like to see more momentum there. Either him or what's his name, Favor, Edwin.
Yeah,
it's either one or the other. Is not looking great right now.
I know who says Favor, Edwin.
I thought it was because Favor. Like, why would you put the U in there if it was just
I
Favor?
don't know, but you're the first person I heard say it that
But
way. I actually
I-
like that. I actually like that. B.
I always say if he commits to Auburn, I'll learn how to say his name. That's what I always say.
But yeah,
Does it okay? So does it matter to you? B, is it just any guy who play on linemen, any of these linemen,
any one of the
doesn't even
ones we've
matter.
been targeting.
If
they've
Favor-
been
if
targeting.
Favor-
these
If
guys.
Favor Edwin decides to sign, now here Beezy said he's gone.
Yeah.
Did he sign with somebody?
I think all the reports are just saying it's not looking good for us. So
Okay.
but we were pretty aggressive early when the transfer portal hit. That's one place where Hugh Freeze started putting out offers immediately, offensive line. The transfer portal, I think we offered like 4 guys in the first week. So they knew we're not after it for a lot of these guys at high school, the offensive linemen. And maybe it didn't look great for them. So they just went ahead and started putting out those offers. We got one, Seth Wilfred. I think we get one more, whether it's portal or high school. But I don't know which one we need more. We're losing more in the interior offensive line. So maybe that's what we need. But I still think we need a all-world tackle. We need another tackle. Right tackle was not great for us last year. When Gunnar Britton was over there, he was cool. Isaiah Miller was not great over there. We got some different. I think Muskrat got some snaps at right tackle. It seems like they were just trying guys out. We need a solid go to right tackle. You're there for the next 3-4 years. We need that dude, and I don't think we have.
And really and truly, what it seems like they want to do is bring Dylan Wade in and make him play guard and get another tackle that way. So we're in need of tackles. I mean, he can play with tackle. Obviously, he did it last year, but we need tackles. To your point,
yeah, we do.
So it's interesting to see what happens, especially with these 2 O-line prospects. But you have Ryan Williams out there as well. And I told Ike, a lot of people have speculated that him reclassifying to this year's class meant a good sign because of the relationships that he's been building with our current receivers. I think they call them the Freeze 5, the Freeze 5 in terms of those receivers. He visited Auburn this Sunday. Hugh Freeze gets the last visit for him before the original national signing day. I told Ike I didn't feel good about him reclassifying because I liked him having more time with him when he was in the 2025 class. I think this shrinks the window, but I can see this staff putting on a full court press between now and when he signs. So I'm not too concerned, but I want to know you guys' thoughts on how you feel about this.
Yeah, I don't feel very confident in Ryan Williams coming to Auburn. I agree. I think if he was 2025 still, I'd feel very great about it because you get more time to recruit him. Honestly, this could just be a Bama telling him to do it because they swung and missed on Perry Thompson. The Perry Thompson, the 5-star wide receiver that Bama fans loved, then hated, then loved again, and then now hate again because apparently he wasn't good enough for them, quote unquote. But I'd think Ryan Williams, he's been too high on Bama the last few. I'm sure he's had a lot of fun talking with Perry and Cam about what they could be at Auburn, and I assure you he had a great time at the USC game. I just don't think that Auburn has done enough in the short amount of time they've been recruiting him to take him from Alabama.
I think we got a shot. I think we got a shot for the reasons that we've already seen, and that's that it's more than just how long have you had. It's more than just are you going to be, your name's going to be in bright lights here. They are connecting. The players are connecting, and through repeated trips to Auburn and unofficial visits and official visits, that connection to those players becomes stronger than just, well, where am I committed right now? Perry Thompson was committed. He was like, he got on board and became our biggest cheerleader. It's not even like, I guess I'm over here now, but I'm just going to be quiet until it's time to sign. Like, no, he got here and got vocal. Ryan Williams has been here a lot. He's still a legacy guy. I like that a lot. And also, you have to remember, for receiver at the very least, I know a lot of other positions, when you think about who's coming in with you, you think, do I want to have to battle that guy for my spot? If he plays the spot I play, do I want to have to battle him for targets, for receptions, whatever? But with wide receiver, you make my job easier. I'm going to be one-on-one. If you two, Cam Coleman's outside, cool. I'm about to show out. Receivers in threes, outstanding receivers in groups of threes. That is the ideal situation for a receiver to come in and not only contribute immediately, but buddy, you gonna roll coverage to me and leave who open? Perry Thompson, Cam Coleman. What do you want to do? It becomes academic at that point. You want to go where you're gonna have the opportunity to shine. But I think all of those guys know, those receivers know, I'm gonna be able to get whatever I want. Maybe not year one as I learn this, and we've got a QB that's okay, but not all world. But Walker White, I saw that tape. I saw his willingness to run and how fast he looks. Buddy, I'm trying to imagine a 2025, 2026, a mature second-year starter, Walker White, these receivers in year 3, like this could be unreal. And I think Ryan Williams is being sold that vision. And I think that we have a possibility to get him on board. Remember, we messed up by Harsin not treating Ryan Williams like the star that he was when he came on his official visit in 2022. And that set us behind with Harsin. It's not like he was like, I'm going to Bama no matter what's where I want to be. He got shunned here and then went over there. And since Harsin has been let go, we got back on the trail for Ryan Williams. I think he's feeling that love. You can never really tell, man, with these kids. Like, I don't think any of us really know. I think it's at least 50-50 right now, though. Like, I do think we have a shot at this. I think him reclassifying makes our opportunity to get him higher because he will be coming in with these guys, the guys he's been hanging with, the guys he's been seeing, connecting with the whole time. 50-50. 50-50. I haven't seen him, but see, I don't follow Ryan Williams on socials. I don't see if he's recruiting for Bama the way Perry Thompson and Walker White have been recruiting for Auburn. I don't see that. And if he has been doing that for Bama, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I want to believe we got a shot.
Well, you got to be committed. Well, he is committed, but yeah, that's a good point. That's a fair point. I'm just curious how much different this offense will look like in a few years. With the receiver, assuming the passing game gets fixed and those receivers are getting the ball, do we look like Ohio State last year, where we're throwing the ball a lot? We got receivers galore.
What do you mean? When you say last year, you mean 2022?
2022.
Yeah, because we don't want to look like
this season is still going. This season is still going.
You're right. It's over for us. I mean, right. So you're saying, do we look like that? You talking about this coming up year or the year after?
The year after.
I think
once Hugh Freeze starts to do what he wants to do offensively, which is in another year, like Mike G said, maybe another, but 2025 we really start to look like what Hugh Freeze and the staff has envisioned. Do we have this offense that looks? I mean, obviously it's going to look drastically different, but are we really a pass-oriented offense? Is that the direction that Auburn is going based on the type of guys we're bringing in? Those guys are going to want the ball. Cam Coleman, right. Perry Thompson, Bryce Kane, Malcolm Simmons, they didn't come to Auburn to just solely block. They want the ball.
Yeah.
Right. If you get Ryan Williams, they want the ball.
Yeah.
How does this offense look moving forward? We don't have to answer that now, but just something to think about.
Yeah.
Good fodder to have in the offseason. Mm-hmm. Guys, there's two portal guys that I kind of want to get your thoughts on. The former Duke linebacker who transferred and signed with Auburn today, Dorian Masai. I hope I'm not butchering his name. Recorded 61 tackles, 3.5 for tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks this season. He's played a total of 44 games and have recorded a total of 193 tackles. He is bringing a good bit of experience to the linebacking core for the upcoming season. Thoughts on him, gentlemen?
I didn't watch him at all at Duke, and we had no idea we were targeting him, so I hadn't watched any of his tape. But I'm a little surprised that with Asante coming back, Keys coming back, that they went out and got another linebacker, because we just got. Well,
they had the linebacker from Georgia that came and visited this Sunday.
So there was with Kentucky.
Yeah, they were looking at another linebacker. So I'm obviously this is a depth piece because I don't see him starting over the guys we currently have. But
Right.
a concern we had was what if Asante gets injured or he needs to come off the bench? Who comes in for him? And are you ready to put one of those young guys in there that soon, assuming they may be able to prove themselves? But he's a depth piece as far as I'm concerned.
Well, who are the guys that are coming back outside of Eugene and Austin? Is Cam Riley coming back? Is Larry Nixon III coming back?
He's out of eligibility.
Out of eligibility. So if Eugene or Austin Keys need a breather, are we ready to put in Cam Riley again? A guy who has not developed whatsoever in however many years he's been at Auburn.
I'm curious where they even put him on the field. He may
I
be.
was say they didn't even put him in a linebacker later.
Yeah, he may be at the jack position or something like that.
I will say fingers crossed. The answer is yes. Is Wesley Steiner out of eligibility?
He is not out of eligibility. I think he has another year at least.
Lovely. But you got to get a guy.
You got Woodyard, and then you got Woodyard. I don't know.
Who still hasn't got much burn.
Yeah. But you got to get a guy like this, I think, because again, I cannot go another year knowing that if Eugene Asante needs to get some Gatorade, that Wesley Steiner is going to be take a spot for a little bit. That's just such a step down, or 3 or 4 steps down from Eugene Asante or even Austin Keys for that matter. And you're getting a guy from a good defense. This Duke defense was lights out. Their offense left a lot to be desired, but this defense was lights out. He was 3rd on the team in tackles. You just need a guy with that can offer that kind of depth. A guy who can fill gaps, who can make tackles, and he also blocked a punt in 2020. He has a punt return for a touchdown listed. Okay. So, I mean, if you need another guy after Keontae Scott, he got your back. But you just kind of need. You just can't have another year with Wesley Steiner and Cam Riley being your 2A and 2B linebackers. You can't have that again.
Well, we'll continue to monitor that and see how that unfolds, especially going to the spring. There's also Georgia cornerback or former Georgia cornerback who entered the portal, AJ Harris, who people have felt high on for him at Auburn. I don't think he's signed anywhere just yet.
He is not.
Again, this could be a guy who, with Scott moving over to corner, creates an opportunity for him to come in at safety, seeing as though we need some bodies back there. So thoughts on AJ Harris, gentlemen?
I would like to see the snap count and grades for all of these guys that left Georgia. I want to know why they're leaving Georgia. Like y'all are humming right now. I mean, you just missed being in the 3rd straight college football playoff for your team. I don't understand why y'all are bailing. So a lot of times what we see when players jump in the portal, they weren't getting playing time and they felt they should have been. They were getting playing time, but they feel like you just brought in or signed the guy who you think is going to replace me because he plays my position and everybody's hyped about him. Okay, I'm not standing for that. I'm out of here. If it's neither one of those, and I want to know why is he leaving? Because I mean,
I've heard people say that he kind of wants to be closer to home.
Oh, okay. Where's he from?
I'll look it up.
You look it up.
I didn't know. I do not follow other teams' players.
That's been one of the things for him is that he wants to be closer to home, which would land him in the Auburn area.
He is from Central Phoenix City.
There you go.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
yeah. So I see Corey Weber right here. Thanks for the intel, Corey. Is he AU likes him at corner and he wants to play safety. I mean,
the safety.
I mean, now that you didn't get KJ Bolden, and apparently they really thought they might. I mean, I don't know though. If AU likes him at corner, if that's where they project him best at, then honestly, maybe that's just not a fit. I mean, it just might not be a fit. So I don't know. I want them to get whatever they think we need, like experienced cornerback. Yeah, Kayan Lee got some burn, but he's probably another 6-7 games starting before he gets it fully figured out. Because it's not like he had a whole season to start. He did some pickup duty, and then once Nehemiah Pritchett got back, his snaps kind of diminished. So I don't think he's all the way ready yet. I like the idea of Kayan Lee continuing to develop on one side. We're going to see. I think Keontae Scott's going to get that shot at outside corner here in the bowl game. Honestly, I think he's probably perfect at star. They want to play him just to see if he can work there. Maybe as going into next year, like, okay, well, we got a really good outside corner and a star player. But DK at star and Keontae at corner, I think is a good mix. I think DK is best at star. He's better at star than he is at free safety. So I don't know. Like, we got a good mix of guys back there. A lot of inexperience back there in our secondary because what's his name? Zach Etheridge could not stop recruiting guys the last cycle. He just went crazy. But like, look, I'm gonna recruit for 2 cycles and then I'm shutting it down. And then he kept recruiting for this cycle too. So I don't know what they want to do back there. I don't know why AJ Harris fits that. I don't even think they know with the guys who are left in our secondary where they're gonna play. I think they're still trying stuff out. So man, I have no idea if AJ Harris commits or if he's a good fit for what we want to do. But I think we got a shot to get him because we did miss on Bolden. And then Bolden figured into their plans as recently as last night. And Hugh Freeze said, we're focusing on high school first. So now that that's passed, you got some money in the coffers that you didn't spend. You got a position open that you didn't think would be open. Maybe they go ahead and make that move for.
And you're already getting a replacement from Zion Puckett because he's going to enter the draft after the bowl game. Laquan Robinson can play strong
he
safety.
Look good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Laquan Robinson is going to be way better than Puckett. Which I don't know how much that's saying, but I feel like it's saying a decent amount. And you see someone at that free safety position. You need a guy who can also play coverage, make plays on the ball whenever it's in the air, win 50-50 battles. And AJ Harris can do that. He did that at Central Phoenix City, but he was able to do it a lot at Georgia. And we're seeing kind of with NIL and the transfer portal kind of being so rampant nowadays. You're not really going to have like an Alabama level, what we saw from like 2012 to like 2015 era, where Bama wasn't losing players to the portal. Bama wasn't losing these players they were recruiting. They were willing to stay as backups for a couple of years and then develop into stars. You don't really see that anymore now. Now that people are like, well, if I sign there, I want to play. If I'm not, I'm just going to transfer out because I can do that now. That's kind of what you're seeing. And with AJ Harris, you just get a guy who could fill in where Jay Simp was, and a guy who would develop. Because you also lost Austin Osbury, who was a guy that probably would have gotten some decent playing time at safety next year. And can't forget you have guys like JD Rim and Jalen Crawford coming in, and who's the other guy?
I mean, you got some guys already.
Amon Lane, yeah. The secondary is the corner position is one that you don't really need to add people to right now that you haven't already added. Try to fill up that safety role. Try to fill in the roles that you had from J Simp, just so your secondary is complete. And
you got Sylvester Smith, Terrence Love. You got some guys already back there, but it'll be interesting. Caleb Wooden, so it'll be interesting to see how they look for sure. All right, gentlemen. Any closing thoughts? We've already the hour and a half mark. Closing thoughts on this recruiting class. I'll start with you, B. Dilly, you can go. Then we can end with Mike G. Go ahead, B. What's your thoughts on this recruiting class?
It's a fantastic first full recruiting cycle for Hugh Freeze. The biggest needs last year were definitely wide receiver and somewhat defensive line, and I think those two things have been addressed very well. We still have, I'll take that back. Tight end hadn't really been addressed. Not really. We had some subpar play at tight end, but I do think that we stand a really good chance of seeing those guys improve. So I don't think it was as big a need as wide receiver was, but he checked that box with a permanent marker, wide receiver. So great for Hugh, great for Auburn. He's got a year to get these guys looking like something. And I do think it may be, hey, they're playing for year 3, and I agree because Mike G said there's plenty. They are plotting and strategizing to maximize returns in year 3, but year 2 is now just as important because you have players that you can't afford to lose now in the fold. You got to do something with them. So it's great that we got them, but we know what NIL and the transfer portal do for college football teams now. Got to do something with the guys you just signed. Hopefully, we make that happen this year, at least an 8-win season. I think 8 wins completes the proper trajectory for year 3, 2025 to look fantastic. I would love to see 8 wins. I think we have the talent to do it. Let me say that. We do have the talent to get those 8 wins now.
Dylan?
I think you made terrific steps into showing the SEC that they cannot just step into Auburn's backyard and just take recruits. You're no longer going to have to ignore Auburn in recruiting battles. Now you have to look at Hugh Freeze and Zach Etheridge and Crime Dog and Cadillac. All those guys who are willing to get these guys for any means necessary. And of course, I mean, the portal is looking good too. I mean, you're getting guys that you need depth for. But I will say the 2024 class is great, but this 2025 class has the potential to be even better.
Mike G.
It's first step in the process. This was a necessary step. We'll see how it pays dividends and how they develop these guys down the road. But the first step was getting more guys in the door, higher rated talent. Give yourself some cushion to miss, and then continue to develop guys behind them. And, hopefully you get the key position at the skills that you need to be able to compete at a high level long term. College football has become about playmakers and quarterbacks. All the rules are offense friendly. Like, if you can't score points in today's game, the outliers are, 2021 Georgia, right? Like 2022 Georgia had to figure out how to score a lot of points to go back to back. And they've got to figure out how to get points on the board. That starts with, again, having the skill positions that can deliver the ball, get you into the right plays, make all the checks and calls, and execute whatever vision Hugh Freeze and Philip Montgomery are going to have for this offense at a high level. So they can take steps towards that next year. I'll be interested to see how many of these guys actually contribute, particularly offensively next year. Hugh Freeze seems a little more old school in terms of development. If you're a receiver, again, you can go out there day one. So I think Cam Coleman has a chance to play game one. I'm unsure about, some of the other guys.
Do them enrolling later put them behind the 8 ball, in your opinion, Mike?
Yes, I do. Yeah, so Cam is going to go through a spring pair. He's not. But again, how bereft are you of talent? And, can he come in the summer and a fall and make a big enough impact? It'll just be interesting. Again, I'll be interested to see how many of these guys hit the field early for Auburn, gain some needed experience in year one. You can play in 4 games and still not burn your red shirt. So, what approach will they take to this class now that they're in the door? I thought it was a good job. They, and they're still not done. They could get 2 more, pretty highly regarded offensive linemen in this class, and it'd be a very good class. Interestingly enough, not a single running back. Not a single running back in this class. So maybe that tells you something about what they're thinking about the room that they have. They're the guys of the future. That is one of those positions where you can come in and make an impact as a freshman. So, we saw Cobb, shine at times, as a true freshman. Maybe they feel like they can always go out and get a running back, so they weren't that concerned about it this cycle. We'll see. But ultimately, I thought they did a good job attacking the things that they thought were necessary to attack, and that was the skill positions. And they went after that. They got Ron Roberts some more toys to play with in the future. Like I said, they're doing exactly what they wanted to do, and I think that's all you can really ask for. Now they've got to take what they got, because it's what they wanted, and make it work. But the first step was what we saw on signing day today. I thought it was a great job.
Yeah. Indeed. Good class, guys. Good conversation. Mike G, tell the people how they can become a member and become part of the Green Name Gang.
Hey, listen, sign up as a patron. $5.99 a month will get you there. This is a great way to support our content. We got lots of great content coming for you guys. You could also give the gift of the War Report by hitting that gifted membership button. This is a great program also that you guys have been taking advantage of, giving the gift of the War Report. Definitely want to thank show sponsor MANSCAPED. To visit manscaped.com and use code Rapport. MANSCAPED is a one-stop shop for all your holiday needs. They have the perfect gift in the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, which also includes a load of perfect stocking stuffers. Get 20% off and free shipping with code Rapport at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Also want to thank show sponsor HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make your home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Say hello to a stressless holiday season with the help of HelloFresh. Skip the grocery store and save time with the easy, tasty recipes delivered to your door. Did you know HelloFresh does more than just dinners? From easy breakfast to start your morning, the tasty choices for every mealtime occasion, and the best part, no groceries required. HelloFresh.com. Use code Rapport free to get your discount on that order. Support those who support us. HelloFresh supports us, so we like them here at the War Report.
And we also like it too when you share this video with those who are looking for great Auburn content. Please be sure to do that. Smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at The War Report. We're also on TikTok at TW Rapport. That's it for now, but we should be back tomorrow. I believe we have pushed the morning drop to tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, gentlemen, because we did the live show behind the paywall today. So be on the lookout for that. We may have to do that tomorrow or Friday. But until then, enjoy the rest of your evening as well as this top 10 recruiting class. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Wriggle.